The aircraft is going through the overhead at the moment. It's going to drop what's called a woody. That will give the team a good idea of what's happening with the wind. The wind may be blowing in your face down at this level. Go up 500 feet, 1,000 feet, will be blowing in opposite direction. So the woodies will give the parachute a good idea. Another person strapped to the front of you. We're just waiting now for the plane to circle above. Any second now, they will be ready to leave the aircraft. Our team sergeant, Sergeant Steve Halley, will be out on a wingsuit, flying around to linked jumpers. And that's him away, he's exited the aircraft. There they go. Falling at speeds of over 120 miles per hour. They'll be looking down, making sure they're in the right spot. Two jumpers linked together mid-air with smoke trailing behind them. Sergeant Steve Hanley in his wingsuit, flying around. They'll be looking below before splitting apart. Keep safe separation between them. And there we go. First canopy's open. Corporal Henry Molnar, jump master, has been taking it down a bit. Second canopy open. And out towards the DR. Team sergeant on his wingsuit. Now the team can actually hear you up there, so the more noise you make down here, the better display they're going to put on. Massive round of applause. So our team jump master will be the first one down. He will be looking at the smoke on the ground and seeing what the winds are doing. He will be assessing where he needs to set up. He will also set the landing pattern for the rest of the team. So the way he comes in, the rest of the team will follow. He's on a smaller, more nimble parachute, allowing him to get down quicker and land first. He's setting up, deciding where he needs to start his downwind leg to bring himself down in onto the cross. And here he comes on his downwind leg. Big cheers, Corporal Henry Moll. Turning into his crosswind leg. Pulling down the front risers to pick up speed. Cutting through the turbulence. Swinging it down towards the cross. Ladies and gentlemen, Corporal Henry Moll. Next up we have our team sergeant, Steve Hardy on his wingsuit. Putting down the front risers towards the cross. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Steve Hardy. Our stat pilot will now be giving words of command to his number 2 and his number 3 and setting up in the right direction. But below that we have Lance Corporal Kai Fisher on the chain of smoke. Big round of applause for Kai. This is 6 smoke canisters strapped together with a weight on the bottom. Built in-house by our parachute riggers. We were the first team to come up with this and use it on the planes. Big spirals, Kai's now assessing what the winds are doing, where he needs to set up before starting his downwind leg towards the tower. Keep the noise levels up. He's coming on his crosswind leg, assessing what the smoke's doing, what the winds are doing, before pulling down his front risers, spinning it down towards the cross. Ladies and gentlemen, Lance Corporal Kai Fisher. Back up towards the sky then, we have our crew team. Setting up, they've popped their smoke, they are getting ready to downplane towards the earth. The stat pilot is assessing the wind direction, the drift, and where he needs to put himself. Turning down towards the tower now. Get ready, as they're about to downplane towards the earth. Last corrections. And there they go! downplaning towards you at speeds of over 70 miles per hour. Big round of applause as they come in. Might be able to listen out for the words of command for them to split. And there they go. They will all now choose a section of the drop zone to land in, keeping safe separation. First in, our fat pilot, Lance Corporal Ryan Moult and Lance Corporal Oliver Hobbs. Next up, our team cameraman pulling down the front risers towards the cross. Ladies and gentlemen, Corporal Cameron Clark. And last but not least, our 7,000 square foot Union flag. All the equipment to build this was built in-house. It is jumped on a tandem parachute, as I said before, 90 kilograms of weight, and the largest flag frequently landed by any parachute display team in the world. He's assessing now what the smoke's doing, what the winds are doing, setting up. Big round of applause as he comes over the pier. He's waving, look. Setting up for his downwind. Coming into land above the cross. Ladies and gentlemen, our team leader. From our right hand side. It is of course Typhoon, Royal Air Force.
You can see from Tom's display the Typhoon's immense performance. 50,000 pounds of thrust coming out of this in full reheat, coupled with its weapons capability, makes it an awesome aircraft alongside the F-35 for UK defence. The Typhoon conducts both air-to-air and air-to-surface missions. So it truly is a multi-role aircraft. While Tom is still swerving in 29 Squadron, his role still continues as an instructor as well. So he's still teaching the next generation of Typhoon pilots. Typhoon. Come down to the Blackpool Tower and you'll see it right in front of you. Also in front of the Blackpool Tower is where you get your Blackpool Airshow weekend program. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the 2026 Royal Air Force Typhoon display. Arriving from the right at just 100 feet, 600 miles an hour. Tom rolling the aircraft in front of us. See him coming back. Watch as he enters into full afterburner. Ailer on roll on the exit. I told you it was going to be noisy. Now watch as he comes straight into crowd center. He's going to pitch the aircraft up. Top full afterburn. Out to the right. Another barrel roll. Now watch as he slows the aircraft down. He's going to come in from the right hand side. Tight turn with those canards working very hard at the front. Now full afterburner. rolling the aircraft to the right, and then it goes to top side view. Double corkscrew. Rolling the aircraft into top side. That horrible positive negative G. Very uncomfortable for the pilot. All the blood rushing up their head. Maximum rate double aileron roll. Rate about 90 in that turn. That's tactical air transport missions worldwide. And after the C-130 retirement, he became a qualified flying instructor at RAF Regimental, teaching elementary flight training. So coming in from the right, Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Let's just listen to the engine. Squadrons and 3 Royal Canadian Air Force squadrons under Royal Air Force operational control. The Dakota served in every theatre of war, most notably in Burma and also during the D-Day landings and airborne assaults in Arnhem in 1944. So watch as the aircraft pitches up from the left, return from the right, the Dakota and the Hurricane. And don't forget to visit the BBMF stand, which is again just down here by the front of the Blackpool Pier and just in front of the tower to the right. Very distinctive black, looks like a big black igloo, sort of igloo shape. But all the information that you need about the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, all of its aircraft, its people, because it is a very, very large team. Obviously to keep these aircraft flying takes a lot of dedication, specialist engineers, and if you want to know more about the BBMF and the work that they do at RAF Coningsby, pop along and see the guys. Ask for Paris, she knows everything. So for the final time, ladies and gentlemen, let's just listen to the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. 45. Cameras at the ready. We'll fly over the top of you. So it's an overflight, not a pass. Here's the picture. Way into the display area. One of the most experienced gyroplane pilots in Europe. And an aircraft that never fails to capture the imagination of audiences wherever it appears. Yes, I know it was a James Bond movie. Definitely it was a James Bond movie where he had the rocket and all that. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was definitely in the James Bond movie. This is the Rotorsport Calidus Autogyro. And the same question everybody asks, what exactly is it? Well, it's not a helicopter and it's not an airplane, although it shares characteristics with both. The simplest way to describe it is as a flying windmill. Think about a sycamore seed falling from a tree, and as it descends, it spins gently through the air. And that airflow keeps it rotating slowly in its descent. Well, the autogyro works on exactly the same principle. But unlike a helicopter, that rotor blade you see above Peter's head, they're not powered by an engine. They're freewheeling. They're freewheeling by the forward motion of the aircraft. And as it moves forward through the air, airflow passes upwards and through that rotor disc. And that airflow causes the blades to spin naturally. And that is known as auto-rotation. So the engine noise you hear, that's actually powering the propeller at the rear of the aircraft. And that's what's pushing the gyroplane forward through the air. And the rotor then produces the lift. Beautiful, simple system. And it has a lot of remarkable advantages. One of the advantages is safety, because the rotor is always spinning, it's always in auto-rotation. Even if the engine stops, if you have a complete engine failure, you're still going to fly along because the big windmill on the top is still spinning. Whereas conventional airplanes must maintain speed, keep its wing flying, because to keep the air flowing over the wing. Slow too much and it can stall. The gyroplane cannot stall in the same way. If the engine stops, no problem. You've still got that spinning disc at the top. Peter's waving, give him a wave back. No hands on the control. Shows how stable it is. Both hands off the controls, just steering it with his feet. And as we saw, another fascinating feature there is that stability of the fuselage hangs beneath that rotor system. It's much like a pendulum below a pivot point. The airspeeds can approach about 350 miles per hour as they rotate. And that means they can smooth out the turbulence and help stabilize the aircraft. So as I said, Peter is one of the most experienced autogyro pilots in the world, I would say. He's a qualified gyroplane flying instructor and an instructor of instructors. So he's responsible for helping train and mentor future gyroplane pilots. He was awarded a gyroplane display authorization in 1991. He later became a display authorized evaluator in 2012. He's one of a select group trusted to assess and maintain display standards within the gyroplane community. He's flown this aircraft at some of the most prestigious aviation events around the world, not just in the UK. He's done Paris Airshow, Farnborough, Biggin Hill. He was out in Dubai when I was doing the World Air Games out there. It's like the CFIA World Air Games. It's like the Olympics for aviation. He became the first British pilot to be awarded a prize out there. He won the prestigious Gold Calibri Award. And when he was out in Dubai, he set a world distance record in an autogyro, which remains unbroken to this day. And that was, what was that, about 10 years ago? He's done a lot of fixed-wing flying as well, which you can see as he throws this aircraft around. And you might have noticed, wow, this aircraft's a lot closer than everybody else. Why is that? Because it's in a lighter category. It means it can approach us a little bit closer than the bigger and heavier aircraft. And because it's so maneuverable, and as I said, it shares those characteristics of a helicopter. So in the event of any problems, you can see the aircraft will be able to auto-rotate very easily down onto the beach in front of us. So that means it can approach us a little bit closer. He's actually authorized to be as close as 50 meters from the crowd line and as low as 100 feet. And you can see that auto-rotation now as he comes down. If you've done any helicopter training, you'll recognize that. We're just using the energy stored in the disc, in the rotor blades, to pitch the aircraft down and bring it down slow and easy. And everybody's been blowing up my Instagram. Yes, it was little Nelly from the James Bond film, You Only Live Twice. You can get me on Airshow Joe on Instagram if you want to send in a greeting to your friends and family. The aircraft itself, as I said,
you see them? The middle one might be
so just confirming, on the right hand side you'll see them circling one more orbit before they come running in from our right hand side. One Yakolev Yak 18T and two Yakolev Yak 52s. These aircraft are based out of Duxford, and what we're going to see is some close formation work. Then we're going to do some formation aerobatics with all three aircraft. Then they're going to break off and do some individual displays. Aircraft led by Phil Hardesty is the larger of the. Now watch as they come running in. This is built around precise close formation flying like this. Sweeping passes with smoke enhanced maneuvers. Now as all three aircraft pitch up into the vertical, Foxtrot, and that's the silver and red aircraft. Tom is also associated with the display direction and airfield operations at Duxford. as they keep this close formation flying. The Yak-18 was developed during the late 1960s, and it was a civilian aircraft. It was actually used to train commercial aircraft for the CPL, and intended primarily for training of airplot pilots. It's got a very strong construction. It's built like a lot of Russian aircraft, built like a tractor, take a lot of abuse. And unlike that tandem seat Yak-52, the Yak-18 is a broad cabin, 4 seats. Some examples where you can carry 5 people. I was talking to Nigel last night in the bar, and he's the owner of the aircraft, and he's a very experienced pilot. Many aircraft under his belt he's owned over the years, and he assured me his favourite aircraft, he said, of all time. He said for ease of use, for comfort, for maintenance, he said this is the aircraft for him. It's powered by a M14P 9-cylinder air-cooled radial at 360 horsepower, which is a lot of power for an aircraft this size. You can actually get an uprated version, have uprated engines on them as well. Get ready for the break. Now the Yak-18 rolling out on its own. Just over 8 meters in length and 11 meters wingspan. It cruises at a very stately 108 knots. You can, with the right wind and downhill, get it up to about 160 knots. And as you can see, it is fully aerobatic. Aerobatic limits, you can do 6.5 positive G and just over 3 negative G. And unlike the Yak-52, you'll see that the undercarriage completely retracts. It's got a tricycle arrangement, so it's not a tail dragger. And the propeller is a variable pitch, normally a 2-bladed, which it is here. Nice slow roll. The aircraft was created by the Yakolev Design Bureau, manufactured in Romania. As I said, it combines that strong airfield, tandem cockpit, and clearly very responsive handling. Very nice slow roll, pitching down. So now look from the left. Here come the Yak-52s coming back into the crowd centre. As the Yak-18 exits left. Now the Yak-52, very different beast. Crew of 2, seated in tandem. 9-cylinder radial engine, 360 horsepower. A lot more aerobatic, +7 and -5 G. The undercarriage is pneumatically operated in semi-retractable tricycle arrangement, and the system uses compressed air that operates the starter, the landing gear and the brakes. And the first thing you learn when you're flying the F-52 is don't touch the brakes, because you've got one canister of air, and once you've run out of that canister of air, then you've got no more brakes. So unless you really, that was a deliberate design cue. It could reduce damage if a student pilot landed with the undercarriage retracted, while also retaining drag useful in the training environment. These aircraft were produced for an organization called DOSAF, and DOSAF was the Soviet equivalent of like the university air squadrons that we have. It was to teach future pilots for the military, and after the fall of the Iron Curtain, these aircraft became hugely popular in the West. Lots of them were bought up from Romania and from the Soviet Union and shipped to not just the UK, throughout Europe, very popular in America as well. And their design has still introduced pilots to military style flying. As you can see, Alex and Tom sit in their tandem cockpits one. Normally the pilot in control in front. And relatively speaking, when it comes to flying aircraft like this, you do get a lot of bang for your buck for the F-52. It's not uncommon that 4 or 5 people will join together and buy one aircraft, and it is reasonable. Obviously warbirds and other aircraft like that are just beyond the reach of most people. But this aircraft, you get together with a couple of your friends, you'd be surprised how reasonable it is to not just maintain but to operate and fly as well. Excellent opposition pass. Now the aircraft are going to join up together before they head back into the crowd centre, keeping that V-shaped formation. So he's on board. All 3 aircraft now coming around from or left. Phil Hardesty, Alex Lawson and Tom Turner.
Takes off with his guys and flies to his mates a few farms away. It's crackers. And he built it himself. Don't need someone, anyone know you like
it. Beautiful tight formation flying. You've got to remember all the time.
Indeed, they were drone engines, but let's say that these drone engines don't need to fly very long.
Okay.
So here he is now, you can just see over the North Pier, very low, and he'll start his display with a side slip manoeuvre, smoke on, and then you'll hear the jet engines come into life, and he can climb vertically.
Yeah, it's a very distinctive sound, isn't it? That Lycoming engine, I'm very used to the sound of it, but you'll hear this sort of whoosh as they spool up.
The jet engines are so thirsty, they will use 60 litres of fuel in 10 minutes. Along with the 10 to 20 litres of smoke oil that we will be using and 20 litres of petrol for the petrol engine, the aircraft will lose considerable amounts of its weight during the display. So these early parts of the display, the aircraft becomes far more manoeuvrable towards the end of the display.
As you can see, the pit special keeps all its special roll rate as well over 400 degrees a second in the roll. And there's that horrible inverted pass. This is when you find that pen that you dropped. It just pops in front of you on the canopy.
And this is where those ratchet straps really come to effect as well. He's hanging in those straps. And Richard doesn't have a G-suit either. So again, the Extra and this Pit Special, they don't have G-suits like many of the modern jet engines. He's feeling every one of those G's that go through his body.
Is the seat canted back? He's not sitting straight up, is he? He's sort of lying back by 10, 15 degrees.
When you pull G to the sort of levels that this aircraft is capable of, then all the blood would go to your feet and you would black out. And indeed, one of the difficulties is going from 140 knots, which is virtually the V-in of the aircraft, to bring the aircraft to a halt to do a hover manoeuvre. It's not actually to bring an aircraft to stop in the air, but this is what we'll try and do next.
Jet engines come back on now. How much time have you got that you can use the jets in one display in total?
They're so thirsty, we have about 10 minutes of fuel on board.
10 minutes.
Am I half off? Does that mean that she's my half captain? Or is she captain? Just polarised. I'm saying
Again, that's not normal. It shouldn't be able to do that. You can get a prop hang for a little bit going, but to be able to just power away from it like that, that's unique. the red arrows do all this. The other batteries don't. Should we go and buy one? Should we go and buy one? So Team Raven running in these home-built RV8s. All of these aircraft were built outside of the factory. That's why the aircraft are all very different. They clearly share the same. Also the Lycoming engine on board. The origin of Raven is a play on the letters from the aircraft, the RV, taken from the BAM family of aircraft. Raven 1, Simon Sid Shirley. He's a team leader and former Royal Air Force fast jet pilot, flew operational tours on Tornadoes, also instructor on a Hawk, Grob Prefect and Grob Tutor. And Raven 2 beside him there, Patrick Wilson, becoming a professional pilot. Flying career includes the Saab 340, Airbus 320 and Embraer Phenom 300. Now coming back in from the right, the main body, led by Raven 3, Peter Wells. More than 6,000 hours reported on tailwheel aircraft. The engine, propeller, avionics and internal equipment, that's why they all differ. The aircraft.
Then that is allowed, I'm just saying.
Watch John Hurl at the controls as he heads back in the Hawker Siddeley British Airspace Hawk T1. Civil registration Golf Hotel Alpha Whiskey Charlie. In its military service, it was X-Ray 342. John flew operationally with RAF Tornado Force. Now, the aerobatic wing walkers are one of the most distinctive acts on the international. They're actually sort of canted at 45 degrees. That's the rig working for them. Dave Farrell is flying the lead aircraft. He's got around 5,000 hours, done well over 1,000 displays and leads the formation. He joined Air Superbatics back in 2006. And then Brian is his number 2, another highly experienced member of the pilot team, more than 13,500 flying hours. Brian started gliding at 14, flew solo on an aircraft at 16. He's also a fully trained aeronautical engineer before he joined the Royal Air Force. Did 23 years in the RAF and flew a wide range of aircraft, single-seat fast jet instructors. He was also the British aerobatic champion. Now watch the ladies on top. They are upside down doing a handstand as they get ready for the break. So as impressive as Brian and Dave's CV are, for me the real stars are the wing walkers themselves, Kirsten Popjoy and Emma Broadbent. Kirsten's been a professional wing walker since 2018. She's a trained trapeze artist and an aerial circuit experience to bring to that display team. Emma joined the profession in 2021. She's a professional dance background. And those graceful positions that we see them in, carefully choreographed movements, can be seen during this whole routine. Now let's listen for Dave calling out the maneuver. the girls at the top are exaggerated. You know how we were saying earlier that a lot of these pilots in the sports planes, they sort of lie back, so they dissipate that G-force. With the way the rigs are set up, that G-force is going straight down their spines. So now the girls are laying side on at 90 degrees. Good crossover. The combination of aviation, teamwork and physical strength, bringing the spirit of the great wing walking teams and the barnstorming here to the modern airshow audience. And they are sitting on the front wing. There's not enough money in the world that would make me do that. Now they're still moving around as they went through. They're starting to climb down from the top of the wing. Again, I'd love to hear this in a job interview. So what's the job? Oh yeah, we put you on top of a wing and then we fly around a bit and then you get off it. What, you land again? No, we keep flying and you get off it. So watch now as they come back in from our left-hand side. Looks to me like they've climbed back up into the rig. That's new. Oh, I see. They're just hanging on to the rig. They're not strapped into it. That's why you can see them side on. So basically, they're just holding on to the pole and wave as they head out to the right-hand side. United States Army Air Force, down in Italy in 1944. And it's a fitting tribute to American pilots. You can see that classic elliptical wing on like the ship version we saw earlier from BBMF. Famous around the world, more than 80 years after the Spitfire first entered service. Aircraft like this continue to inspire audiences of all ages. These aircraft are a flying reminder to us not only of the engineering brilliance of the era, but also the courage of the men and the women who built these aircraft, maintained them, and flew them in those remarkable machines.
This
I hope you don't think I'm skiving off work, but who'd want to talk over this? There were plans to return it to flight up at Duxford, but the project remained incomplete, and Fubar Aviation back in Poland acquired the aircraft towards the end of 2023 and then transported it back to their Warsaw airport for a comprehensive restoration.
I'm just seeing it's not.
Here he comes, running in from the left. Keep an eye out on that big afterburner plume. It's like a big carrot sticking out the back. Beautiful sound bouncing off that silver machine. It's relatively new as well to the flying display. It's one of only few that it's done this year because its first post-restoration flight was in April of this year. Its first public appearance was at Airsky, only 3 days after that flight. It's over 36 feet long and 31 feet long as well. Powered by a WK-1F turbojet with reheat, about 7,450 pounds of thrust. So that's a lot. Remember we had the Hawk in earlier? That's a lot newer aircraft than this. This was only around 5,600 pounds, so it had a lot of thrust. As you can see, no problem with climbing.